I was gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me.
No affiliation, why they faking? This ain't for debating. We the real, they really imitation. I be contemplating why this ain't on like heavy rotation on radio stations. I just pray the Lord give me patience, cause I'm running through these rappers like my name Walter Payton. Shitting on these rappers, 9 to 5 is my occupation. Raw, you come in with your best troops, you best bring more. Already told you I got the juice like Orenthal. Already know what I'm about to do, bet your men fall. Everyone know that we got the truth, all your men falls. So boss, overtaking our enemies. Moves calculated and orchestrated like symphonies. Smooth operated when bringing haters the misery. Top 5 list ain't shit unless you mention me. Yeah, that's why we don't associate. Fuck niggas make them more fuck niggas. Why they procreate? Why they overhate? Cause they time is short and a moment late. Let it culminate to they heart erase and it palpitate. Cowards perpetrate like they little group is respectable. Talking intellectual, all of you homosexuals, faggots.
There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat your children.
I don't want to congregate. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want the fellowship. I ain't trying to build with you. Ain't the UPK, ain't the truth. Keep it real with you. Defenders of the faith, I got no problem bumping heads with you. All that bullshit, you can take it over there with you. Rather be a houseboy, rather run with them field niggas. Show them to put in work. Move mountain, crush hills, nigga. Take a dead soul, breathe life and make it live, nigga. No affiliation, so it's no one to compare with us. Took the Lord's laws and just added it with fear, nigga. Ain't for the body, cause you know like killer head quicker. With these bars, I'm on my grizzly, so bear witness. You spit cold, I spit flu. Don't compare sickness. You floss diamond, I floss fringe. Don't compare dentists. UPK, we meant the wall shit. We ain't Christian. Harm one of us, get pistol whipped like the gun got a belt with it. I'm bred different. The competition just a mill. I'm fed different. I stood front line on them fields. I bled different. I'd rather be a corpse than a coward. I'm led different. Shit, I'm led different. Come through like a juggernaut, so don't get in the way. And we take everything serious. We don't play. I wonder now what they gon' say. Shit, we make profits out of shooters like the NBA. You get slayed for switching sides, nigga. We ain't on the same page. Immaculate conception. Wow. These niggas bitch made. I'm sticking with the foundation where my bricks laid. You switch sides, I'd rather switch cage. You was never with us, nigga. Just know we won't miss you, nigga. Right hand hold the scriptures, nigga. Left hand hold the pistol, nigga. How you want it? You can get it spiritual and physics, nigga. Wrong ones to come against, so bring an army with you. No affiliation. When you see us, make a difference with us. No affiliation. When you see us, know we different, nigga. No affiliation. So no, you can't kick it with us. The wrong ones to come against, bring an army with you.
Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Barakatham. To all the Akim and Akrathim all around the world. Let's clap it up. So glorious feast. This is the first night of the Feast of Dedication, also known as Chaanakah. And this is a joyous event to really talk about. And this event, and this festival or feast actually has a lot of layers to it. So we're going to see if we can go through some of the layers. I don't know if we'll have enough time to get through everything, but we're going to try to really go into this story because this is an exciting story. Because this story really has a lot of lessons to it. This story talks about identity. You really can know your identity by knowing this story. You also know about the Holy Spirit of the children of Israel when you hear about this story. This story also talks about men and women who are courageous, who had courage, or like we say in One West, who are no cowards. This is why the white man can't claim this story. See, the white man, the white Jewish man, man tries to say this is his story. But we know it can't be his story because he's a coward. This story is not for him. Okay? Because this story talks about how we reclaim our identity when it was taken, when we first actually gave it up, and when it was taken from us. So we're going to actually go through this story tonight, and we're going to go through some points of what we can learn from Chaanakah. Because this is a glorious, glorious feast. And, you know, another thing why this is important is because Yahweh did this feast day. Because we have some fake Israelite camps that say that you are not to observe this feast day. But Yahweh did it. If Yahweh did it, you know it's righteous. So, let's start off the story. We're going to go down through. And of course, you know, I'll ask some questions as we go through. Just to talk about it, because it's good to talk about a story and people chiming in. The story really starts in 1 Maccabees 1. So, let's go to 1 Maccabees 1. We want to start there because in this story we're going to talk about the Greeks and how pretty much Alexander started it off when he expanded that wicked Edomite empire. So we're going to start it off with those perverted Greeks where Alexander the Great was. Let's start at verse Maccabees 1. Let's read verse 1.
First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened, after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chatham, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
Okay, so now we've seen that Alexander pretty much was starting to rule in Macedonia in place of his father. And what happened when he started to rule? Let's go. Let's keep it going.
Verse 2. And made many wars and won many strongholds.
Okay, so he's pretty much taking over the known world. Okay, Alexander's going through. He's actually doing what the white man does. You know, the white man goes into different lands, takes it over, and claims it's his. You know, it's funny how the white man actually came over here to the United States, took Native and Hispanic land, and then when they try to get back to this land, what does he call them? Aliens, foreigners. You see how cruel the white? Well, this is what the white man has been doing. Okay, he goes to another land and he conquers and he devours. What else does it say? Let's keep it rolling.
And slew the kings of the earth.
Okay, exactly what the white man does. Keep it going.
Verse 3. And went through to the ends of the earth.
Okay, Alexander went to the ends of the known world at that time, devouring, taking over. Read on.
And took spoils of many nations.
Okay, we know that the white man, when he takes over, he takes the wealth of the nations, he takes the natural resources and claims it his own. Okay?
Insomuch that the earth was quiet before him.
Okay, I mean the earth was shook up. Alexander was just conquering. Okay, nobody could defeat him. All right, the earth couldn't come against him. It was quiet. All right.
Whereupon he was exalted.
Okay.
And his heart was lifted up.
Okay, he was puffed up. He has the pride. The white man is puffed up when he does things. He has an arrogance to him. Let's keep going.
Verse 4. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries.
Okay, so he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over the countries. Okay, so we pretty much, let's just sum this up. We pretty much know that after Alexander, or some of you might not know, after Alexander took over, he died. Okay, he died I think in his 30s, he died. After he died, his kingdom was split up amongst his 4 top generals. Okay? And the general that we're going to be talking about today, in one of those kingdoms, we had, what is his name? Antiochus. Okay? That's the king that we're going to concentrate on. That was one of the men that came from one of the generals. He was the descendant of one of those generals. So his kingdom was broken up into 4 smaller kingdoms that he took over, and they were spread out. So it was split up amongst his 4 generals. Okay? And one of his generals, had sons, and they had sons, and then it gets to the time where Antiochus, one of the generals, is ruling. Okay? So he starts to roll over. He starts to rule. Okay? So let's see what happens. Let's jump to 1 Maccabees 1 and 11. Okay, so this is how we became ruled by those filthy Greeks. Let's hear what it says.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
Okay, wicked men. This always happens to us in Israel. This always happens. Okay, we have wicked leadership. And that wicked leadership always leads us right down the rabbit hole to be caught. Okay, what else is said?
Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
Okay, have we heard this story before? Let us make a covenant with the heathen. This is all through the Bible. We get wicked leaderships that rise up, and what do they want to do? They want to be like the other nations. Okay, this is nothing new. You've heard this before. Actually, they asked somebody a question. What happened when the children of Israel came out of Egypt? What did they want to do? Come on, sir.
They wanted to go back.
They wanted to go back. They wanted to go back to the land of Egypt. Okay? They wanted to go back. Right? Israel has always had a problem we've actually always had a problem with wanting to be like the other nations. What did they say to Samuel? Remember, what did they say to Samuel? Let us be like the other nations. Okay? We want to be like them. So this is nothing new. Okay, what else is said? Baba Kushan.
For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Okay, we've had much sorrow. Remember when Israel left Egypt? Oh, if we could only go back and have the fish. Things were better there. Keep going.
Verse 12. So this device pleased them well. Verse 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
Okay, so now we start to follow after the ordinance of the heathen. What lesson can we get from this? How did we become under Greek rule? Anybody want to answer that? How? Mango? Yeah, we asked for it. The reason why we got dominated by the Greeks is because we asked for it. We asked for it. We asked for it. Swaki, the utensils are under that, all that stuff in that aluminum foil. Just want to let you know. All right, we asked to be under their rule. We asked to be like them. We had to. This sounds like us today sometimes. You know, sometimes today, I want to be a Republican. So we tell the Republican white man to rule over us. I want to be a Democrat. So we tell the Democrat white man. Remember when Biden won, people said, what do black people say? We did it. We did it. It's the same attitude. Let's read on.
Verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen.
Okay, so you know how we're so into sports. Where do we get that from? That's from white men, because the Greeks were so into sports. You know, they had the Colosseums and the gymnasiums, okay, where they would wrestle and do Olympian events naked too. Okay, no clothing on. Okay, just really unclean. And they had us to do it. So this is where we get our mannerisms of being so into sports, okay? So into the games. And you know, a lot of Israelites died doing that because they were into those games, and a lot of them actually died or made fools of. Let's read on.
Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant.
How do you make yourself uncircumcised? Anybody know? How do you make yourself uncircumcised? There you go. Yes. How do you make yourself uncircumcised? Okay, you're about to say something. Joshua, what do you think? Exactly. When you don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments, that's how you become uncircumcised. See, circumcision was a token. Circumcision was an outward token. when you got your foreskin circumcised, that was an outward token of what was inside. So to make yourself uncircumcised, you show an outward token of disobeying the Most High. And that's what they were doing. They said, let us become uncircumcised. Okay? So we felt like it was better to join the heathen. Okay? So we built the Coliseum, we built the gymnasium. Okay? Alright? And this is how we did it. Is there anything more in verse 15?
Joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief.
Okay? Sold to do mischief. They were becoming unlawful. Okay? They became unlawful. Alright? So they sold themselves, they became unlawful, and they started disobeying the covenant. They started disobeying the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay? So, we know the story. Well, the rest of the story, is Antiochus started to take over everywhere. Let's find out some more. Let's go jump down to verse 20.
First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 20. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt.
Okay, so just like the white man does, when he gets one thing, he's never satisfied. White man's never satisfied when he gets. He has to get it all. So now he's taking over Egypt. Read on.
He returned again in the 143rd year.
Okay, so this is the year. Okay.
And went up against Israel.
Okay.
And Jerusalem with a great multitude.
Okay, so he went with many troops up against Israel. Okay, have you noticed, and this is actually the same idea as the white, you notice when a white man pulls over a black man, you notice when he comes against him, you notice he's never won. Usually about how many cops that usually come through? 20 after a while, 10, 20 cops, guns drawn. Because the white man never fights fair.
Right.
Okay, so he's got the same attitude. Alright, what verse are we in?
21.
Alright, let's keep going. Bible drop.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 21. And entered proudly into the sanctuary.
Okay, and he went, come slack. So he went proudly into the sanctuary. Okay, into a holy place. Okay, he went proudly in there. Alright? Proudly. He had no regard for what was holy to our sacred. Alright, let's read on.
And took away the golden altar.
Okay.
And the candlestick of light.
Okay.
And all the vessels thereof.
So he touched all the vessels. He took the vessels, touched them, took them away. Well, we see, if you notice this, we've heard this and seen this before. They say history repeats itself. The white man has been the same since he's been the same. He takes all the stuff. Where else do we see in history where the white man has taken everything? Anybody know else in history? Where the white man just comes and takes everything? Nobody knows? How about when he went over and attacked? How about when the Spanish came down? Slack, go ahead, sir, come. Come. Any nation that he went into. Alright? Think about the Spaniards when they came down into Mexico. And when they came down the Caribbean. Who did the Spain was rich because they stole those natural resources from our Israelite brothers who were living down in Mexico, who were living down in the Caribbean. Spain became rich off of that. What about the natives that were in the Black Hills, that sacred territory? What did the white man do? He come and took that. He took the gold out of the Black Hills. So he takes those natural resources. The same thing that we're seeing in the story. The Greeks did that. This is nothing new in this story. This is nothing new. Let's read over scripture. Where are we at?
Verse 22.
Come, sir.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 22.
Come.
And the table of the showbread.
Okay, take it all.
And the pouring vessels.
All the vessels.
And the vials. And the censers of gold. And the veil. And the crown. And the golden ornaments that were before the temple. All which he pulled off.
Okay, so he took it all. All that was precious to the children. And when he strips that away, it's almost actually symbolizing them stripping your identity as well. Because those things were part of who we were. And he stripped that away. Those things were part of that. The temple, all the vessels, all the gold, all the silver. And he didn't want you to know about it. He took that all away because he was going to put his customs on you. Keep going, so like Father Shot.
Verse Verse 23. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found.
Okay?
Verse 24. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly.
Okay, so he goes and brags about it. Okay? Talks about the things that he's done. All right? Let's keep it going.
Verse 25. Therefore there was a great mourning in Israel.
Okay? Once he came and massacred, Israel was in great mourning. We asked for it, but you know when we ask for something, okay, it comes down on us. We asked to be like the heathen. We wanted to be like the heathen. So when the heathen came and dropped down on us, now we had a great mourn. Because we thought that, and we got the same attitude. We asked to be part of Democrats. We asked to be Republicans. But when we join these parties, do they give us what we want? Do they treat us like human beings? Absolutely not. So when we ask to join these heathen nations, you can't think that they're going to look at you as, somebody special. They want you to join so that you can be slaves to them. So when we join the Greek nation, when we ask for that, they put us in mourning. Let's keep it reading.
In every place where they were.
Every place they were.
Verse 26. So that the princes and elders mourned.
Okay, now the leaders and stuff are mourning. Now they're in great mourning because the Greeks have devoured and have stripped away the things that were precious to them. Their identity is being taken away. Israel's heritage has been taken away. We see this today in America. And the Greeks are doing the same thing that the American white man or European man, all of the white, just whoever, has done to us. Okay? Put us under harsh conditions, harsh rulership, to the fact that we are mourning. Let's keep it reading, Bible shot.
The virgins and young men were made feeble.
Made feeble, keep it rolling.
And the beauty of women was changed.
The beauty of women was changed. This happened. At one time it was beautiful for our women in Israel to be feminine. Beautiful beauty. Right. Nowadays, what happens? When the white man says so, what happens to our women? He convinces our women to act like men. Right. Have an independent mindset. I can do bad all by myself. And the women become hardened once they join the heathen. Okay, so it fades, the true beauty of our Israelite women started to fade away. The same thing we say today. And now their beauty, the beauty to them is what? Nicki Minaj's and other women. Okay? With no modesty. That's the beauty that they think today. But the true beauty of our women started to fade. Let's keep it going, Bible Shah.
Verse 27. Every bridegroom took up lamentation.
Okay? The bridegroom started taking lamentation because the women were fading away. The beauty of the women. The true identity of an Israelite woman was diminishing. Come on, let's keep it going.
And she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness.
Okay, now we got black women in there that are in heaviness. Why? Because their men are such in hard and crazy conditions. Now he's on the drugs. Now he's addicted to the alcohol. Now he's got the vices. So they're in mourning as well. The Greeks had the same, you see the same attitude back under the Greek rule that we go through today. Let's continue, Slaki.
Verse 28. The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof.
The land was also, okay?
And all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion.
Multiple confusion. Does this sound familiar? Confusion in the black community today. Why? Because we want to be like the heathen. See, when we ask to be like the heathen, we're in confusion. We lose our identity. Continue, Bible Kashab.
Verse 29. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude.
Okay, so he came up to Jerusalem.
Verse 30. And spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit.
Okay. So, our enemy comes up and speaks peaceably. What's a precept today? Anybody know a precept? Your enemy comes, Talking about Bible Chaanakah, sir.
Yeah, their words are smooth as butter.
Words are smooth as butter. What's that? Psalm, I think it's Psalm 55. Words are smoother than butter. You can even take it back to the garden. The serpent, when he spoke to the woman, subtle, smooth, okay, crafty. We can see this in history. Where do we see this in history? When the white man does this. Right, remember? Think about the native Indian. What do you do with the native Indian? What do you make with the native Indian all the time, supposedly? That was broken. What are you making them? Yasha? Okay? You're thinking, I might go. Okay, so they would act like they're doing something one way, so they would say they're going to do one thing, but then they made another. What is that called? What is that called? When the white man does that, he says one thing, and you sign the paper, but he means another. What is that called? It's called a treaty. Okay? So it's the same thing. The white man was making treaties, or trying to speak peaceably, but you know, I think it's, what is that, Ecclesiasticus, war was in his heart. Okay? Keep going, Papa Kashab. I'm sorry.
For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city.
Okay? Fall suddenly. So once you trust the white man, and he gets you, let your guard down, okay? And then, what does he do? He attacks suddenly, just like a snake. Okay? Smooth, ready to strike. Then suddenly he attacks. Okay? Suddenly he came on our native Indian brothers. Suddenly he destroyed the Taino Indians. Suddenly, okay? Suddenly he destroyed the towns of Black Wall Street. Suddenly, the same type of attitude. You see this back in Greece. Let's continue, Papa Kashab.
And smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel.
Destroyed much people of Israel. Destroyed them. Keep going.
Verse 31. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire.
Okay? Set it on fire. Burned it down. There was a neighborhood in the 1980s in Philadelphia. Just burned down. Rosewood. Burned down. How many black business areas have been burned to the ground by the white man? How many cultures, how many of our Gadite brothers have just been destroyed? They burn. You know, some of those Europeans who come at night and burn down our villages while our native brothers were trying to get some sleep. Just sudden attacks, even after they were making a treaty with them. You can look at history books of the Roanoke colony when the colonists came over. Okay? Before they had the establishment. Okay? Some of those colonists would come, make treaties with the Croatoans, and then right after that, go and attack their villages at night. It's the same thing the white man was doing in Greece. He doesn't change. Let's keep it going, Baba Kashan.
And pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side.
Pulled down the houses. Sounds like what we done in the black community. He pulled down the housing projects. Okay, we're gonna see the word in a second.
Verse 32. But the women and children took they captive, possessed the cattle.
Okay, take some women and children captive. You see that today. Alright, so, go ahead, Slide. Keep going, Slide.
Verse 33. Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall.
Okay, what is that called nowadays when the white man does that? Where he pretty much destroys your community, the property value goes down, then he buys it, and then the property value goes up and he builds it up. What's that called? You see this nowadays. What talks about?
Gentrification.
Gentrification, right here. Burn it down, then he will build it back up. He'll build it back up with his walls and stuff like that. Okay? Maya Gali, got a question? Calm. Let's get calm. And he does that because when you burn stuff up, that leaves no trace of once what you were. So when you burn somebody's community down, there's no trace of what they were. Okay? Do you see traces? But we don't really see traces that the native Indian lived in this country in a lot of places. Why? Because the white man has built his monuments over there. Now we have some places named after the natives. Sometimes we don't even know that was them. But he's built his buildings and monuments. If a native got up today that lived back in the, 1600s and went to New York, they wouldn't recognize New York. That would look like a place of their ancestors. So when you burn a place down to the ground, you want to erase who those people once were. Okay? Let's keep it going. Let's go to verse, we're going to go all the way to 40, Baba Bashar, sir. I'm going to stop you in between, but we're going to keep going to 40.
You want me to keep going in order for right now?
Yeah, just get calm. We're going to jump to the next one. We're giving some background of why we need to do this celebration. So the background is right now, let's talk about that real quick. The Brits came and did what to us? What did they do? Yasha. Okay, so the Brits came, yes, we asked for it, and what did they do to us, Yasha? Okay, what did they do? The Greeks came in, because this is important for Chaanakah. Anybody know what the Greeks do? They came and did what? Okay. All right. Anybody else want to add?
They came and destroyed us.
They came and destroyed it. We asked for it. We asked to be like them, and they came and destroyed us. So when they came and destroyed us, we lost our identity. So the Greeks took our land, took our temple, took our identity. This is the background of what you need to know, because Chaanakah is so important because it shows how we took our identity back. That's what the story is about.
Right.
How we got our identity back. And the spirit of how we got it back is the spirit that we need to have. Okay? Which is the spirit of One West.
Right.
Which is warfare.
Right.
That's the spirit of One West. So we just going through some background knowledge of how we lost the identity. And yes, we did ask for it. Let's continue, Bob Bashar, sir.
And with mighty towers, it made it a stronghold for them.
Come.
Verse 34. And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein.
Okay, so they put themselves, now look, let me see if somebody recognizes this. I want you to see the history of what the white man keeps doing is keeps repeating himself. Let's keep continuing. We're going to see if y'all recognize this. Go ahead.
Verse 35. They stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there, and so they became a sore snare.
Okay, it became a snare. Let's keep continuing.
Verse 36. For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary to Israel.
Okay.
Verse 37. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it.
Okay, so now their whole city is defiled. Now their city is filling up with heathens. Does anybody recognize this? Where do we see this today? Where do we see this today? We see this. Go ahead, Mayako. You see in every hood today, what do you see? The heathen floods it with his businesses.
Right.
He floods with his businesses. You see black businesses, Yasha. Come. Slowly take over. Okay, so he'll go in there, he'll take over, he'll take all the goods, he'll take all the resources, then he'll tear your community down. Then what he'll do is he'll bring foreigners in your community. He'll bring foreigners right in there. And it will be flooded with different foreigners who are going to make a profit off of who? They're going to make a profit off of you. They're going to make a profit off of me. Okay? And then you got all these nations that come in and feed off of us. This is the same thing you see nowadays in our community. And I just want you to see it's nothing new. Maya, you got something? Right, there's nothing left. And then they would flood us with vices. Okay, and they were doing the same thing. Let's continue. Where we at?
Verse 38. Insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers.
Habitation of strangers. Who's in Jerusalem today? Are we in Jerusalem today?
Nah.
Who's in Jerusalem today? Who's there? Who's in Jerusalem?
The heathens.
The heathens. The ones that say they're Jews. They're right in Jerusalem today. Same story. Same story. Let's go to verse 40, sir.
First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 40. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning.
Okay, excellency now is turned into mourning. Okay, so we got some background. We got some background of what was going on in Jerusalem at this time during when the Greeks took over. So the Greeks came in. Why did they come in? Point number one, we asked for it. We said, hey, I want to be like the other nations. I want to be like you. You see that? So we asked for it. And then when we asked for it, they flooded our community. Okay? They flooded, Salaki, so you can get another breather too if you want to. Okay. All right? They flooded our community, okay, with different heathen nations. And they took all of our stuff. So the first part of the story of Chaanakah is we lost our identity. That's the first part of the story. Our temple, our glory was taken, okay, first by asking when we asked for it, and then second by brute, unequivocal force, dominating force. And we're going to see how bad it got, okay? Because this is why we're going to see how bad it actually got. All right, let's look at verse 54 real quick.
First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 54. Now the 15th day of the month, Caslu, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar. Okay,
so now they're setting up an altar of abomination of desolation. Now they're that bold. They're going on holy ground that was set apart only for Israel, and now they're setting up their stuff. Okay, now does anybody know when the month of Caslu is? What month is that? What month is that? Anybody know? We're in that month. What month is that? December. Okay, so in the month of December. All right, let's read verse 55.
Verse 55. First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 55. And burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets.
Oh, that was it? 55.
You want me stay in 54?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Read 54 and then read the 55. Salaki.
First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 54. Now the 15th day of the month, Caslu, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side. Verse 55.
So they're building up idol altars. That's why you can't let the heathen in your community. You know, right? Because you're going to worship his God.
Right.
That's why you can't let the heathen in your community. Because you'll start to compromise.
Right.
That's why the Most High said, when you go into the land, bring down all their altars, smash their images, or they will be a what to you? If I remember? A snare. So if you invite the heathen in, he's going to be a snare to you. He's going to set up Buddha right there. As he's selling you, your eggs for yum, and you get your bubble gum, your bazooka bubble gum, and you get your half and half. Buddha is right there.
Right.
Okay? Then when you go to a Muhammad shop, you get that pizza. You go to Muhammad shop because you don't sell pork. You're like, Max, I get pepperoni pizza. You right? You see a moon and a star right there. You got Allah right there. When you let them in your community, they're going to bring their gods. And And then you are going, there's going to be a snare. Okay, let's read verse. So we're in the month of Keslu, all right, which is December. Let's read verse 59.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 59. Now the 5 and 20th day of the month, they did sacrifice.
Wait a minute, 5 and 20 day. What day is that? The 5 and 20th day of the month. What day is that? What day is that?
25th.
That's the 25th of December. You see how the heathen always see Christmas, December 25th, is nothing new when it comes to heathen. He's always observed this. He's always observed December 25th. Let's see what he does on December 25th. So he's always observed this time. He's always observed this day. He actually does plenty of abominations on this day.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 59. Now the 5 and 20th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar.
Okay, sacrifices. Okay, this was an important day where he would sacrifice. Okay, and he would have our Israelite brothers, sacrificing from morning to whatever. Okay, different sacrifices were done on the 25th day of Keslu, which is December 25th. This is nothing new. Keep rolling.
Which was upon the altar of God.
Okay, which was upon the altar of God. That's how abominable this December 25th is. Let's go to let's go to 60 and 61.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 60. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women.
Okay, they put to death certain women on this day. Go ahead.
That had caused their children to be circumcised.
Okay, so Israelite people were getting killed on December 25th. So that's why you really should. You know something we said we shouldn't do Thanksgiving? Why? Because you're celebrating the massacre of our Israelite brothers. Why would you want to do December 25th when that was a day when they would kill our Israelite brothers? They would kill them because they wanted to follow the law. But we sit up there, Christmas tree. Okay, we sit up there. And you know who wants to do it, right? The heathen wants you to do that day. And let's look how bad this day was. Let's look at verse 61. You want to see how bad this is.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 61. And they hanged the infants about their necks.
They would hang our children by their necks on this day, on December 25th.
And rifled their houses.
Can't go in the house and just knock us off. Just rifle. That sounds like police raids to me.
Right.
This is what they were doing. Okay.
And slew them that had circumcised them.
Slew our people, slaughtered them. This was a day of slaughter. Christmas was a day of slaughter. Well, kill our women, kill our children. Destroying us. Let's end off with slap.
It sounds, real similar to what they was doing when they had them ICE agents coming in and with our ISUPK brothers and sisters. They would come right in their house, tear their house up, kill them, take them, beat them.
Come.
The same thing that was going on back then.
Same thing. He hasn't changed. That's why he's the devil that the Bible speaks of. Because he's been the same. He's been the same. Let's end off verse 62.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 62. Howbeit, many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing.
Okay, now this is where we have to start. This is the spirits. This is the vibe that starts where we started to turn around. Okay, and this is the attitude that sparks the revolution for the Maccabees. All right, because you had some brothers and sisters that refused, that did not compromise. They did not compromise to break the Most High's law. You had a plenty that did. You had plenty that did, that sat there and did that. But the spark of this revolution, okay, the spark is because you had the brave souls of brothers and sisters, okay, that would not compromise. All right? So, I lied. We're going to go to, let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 7. We're going to go to 2 Maccabees. So, what do we get so far? So let's talk about the background. First of all, today is Chaanakah, which is the Feast of Dedication. And we got to talk about, Chaanakah means dedication. Ha means the dedication. Okay? We have to talk about how we got to this day of it being a day of dedication. But let's go over real quick. The background to this story is that our culture was stolen from us, taken once we volunteered it to be taken. We asked for it. And the heathen Greeks came in and slew plenty of us, stole our land, rebuilt it up, gentrification, okay, and then had brothers and sisters run out of there, and then would celebrate on December 25th, Christmas Day, slaughtering our people, and ask our people to pretty much, do abominable acts, eat pork, do sacrifices on the altar, okay, which was holy, okay. This is all what was going on at this time. But there were certain brothers and sisters that would not compromise. They would not compromise. They didn't. So we're going to read of the spirit that some of our brothers and that spirit is one West. That's the same spirit that we have in the ISUPK today. We got to keep and maintain that. Okay? We got to keep and maintain no compromise. Okay? Because that spirit is not, it's pretty much our slogan, no cowards. These brothers and sisters that we're going to talk about today, that's part of Chaanakah, we're not cowards. Notice I said brothers and sisters. You're going to see in these stories that our sisters were courageous and did not compromise. And that's the same spirit that we have to be in. So let's start with 2 Maccabees chapter 7. We're going to read the story real quick about a mother and her 7 sons. We're going to go through it quickly. I'll stop, but we're going to go through it quickly due to time because it's already, I still got about an hour, but there's a lot of meat to the story. Okay, we're going to break it down. I got 4 points of why Chaanakah is important. This is going to talk about our first point. Okay? All right, so let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 7, verse 1.
2 Maccabees chapter 7, verse 1. It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh.
Okay, so they're asked to go, hey, you need to go taste some wine flesh. Okay, so they're pretty much asked, or we're going to see where pretty much they're going to be commanded to do that. Okay, all right, let's keep it going. Verse 2. Oh, verse 1, I'm sorry, finish verse 1, I'm sorry.
And were tormented with scourges and whips. Verse 2.
So they were tormented now. Okay, gotta go and eat pork. So now they're being tormented for it. So let's see what their attitude is. Okay, you know what's so funny? When we were in school, what they like to do is they only wanted us to remember the couple blacks. And those are the blacks that really compromised. When we were in school, who was the Trinity blacks in there? Dr. King. He was number 1. But they never wanted us to remember the blacks that didn't compromise. You never heard about them. Okay? Every time they talk about black history, black history, in school was probably like, 2 sentences long. And the blacks were slaves. They fought for civil rights. Dr. King. Moving on. That's pretty much black history. That was pretty much black history in school. Pretty much that was it. They just said Dr. King, blacks were slaves, Dr. King fought for civil rights. And you know why? Because they didn't really want you to know about the courageous brothers and sisters that did not compromise. That were really about warfare. Okay? See, these brothers and sisters that we're going to read about was about warfare. See, that's the type of attitude we have in the ISUPK. Okay? We don't have that peaceable Dr. King marching attitude. Okay? We are men of war here. And why? Because our father is a man of war. Okay? He's a man of war. Okay? So, what's in school, like I said, they never talked about these courageous brothers and sisters. They didn't want us to know about that. But we're going to talk about it because part of Chaanakah is remembering them. It's remembering what they did. All right, let's go to verse 2.
Verse 2. But one of them that spake first said thus, What wouldest thou ask or learn of us?
Okay. What do you want from us? What do you want from us? Go ahead.
We are ready to die, rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers.
You see the attitude. We are ready to die. than to transgress the law of our fathers. You see that attitude? You saw that attitude also with Daniel and his companions. They said, hey, if you got to throw us in, okay, we're not going to compromise. They had faith and they said, hey, we will be delivered, but if we're not going to compromise. That's not a coward. No coward. That's being courageous. Hey, what do you want from us? Okay? We're not going to compromise. Okay? And you notice, what was the other spirit of those other ones? They said, hey, let's be like the heathens. We don't want that attitude. Let's jump to verse 4.
Verse 4. Which forthwith, being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first.
Okay, so now the first brother got his tongue cut off. That's the first brother. Okay? Tongue was cut off. And you would think, if you saw one of your family members get their tongues cut off, you would think you might be rethinking, like, well, man, you would think some people would be like, well, man, I got my tongue cut off. All right, so let's see what else happens.
And to cut off the utmost parts of his body.
What's the utmost parts of your body? What's the extremes of your body? I know? How's that? Sir? Yeah, you're like your hands and your feet. Okay? You got that chopped off. That's gone now. Okay? Utmost part, hands and feet, chopped off, tongue cut out. Alright, let's see what happens.
The rest of his brethren and his mother looking on.
They saw all this. That mother saw her firstborn get his tongue, hands, and feet chopped off. That sister had to see that. You know, when it comes to a black woman and her children, she don't play. She don't play. So imagine what that mother had to go through. Seeing her firstborn, her first baby boy, get his hands and feet chopped off. Let's find out what else happened.
Verse 5. Now when he was thus maimed in all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire.
Okay, now he's being brought to the fire. Go ahead.
And to be fried in the pan.
Okay, now they're going to fry it. Now they're going to fry it. All right? Keep going.
And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully.
These brothers got together, and when they saw that, they still didn't compromise. They still didn't compromise. They saw their brother pretty much be cut up, hands cut off, and what was their attitude? Still, we're not going to compromise. They weren't, there's no cowards. We're cowards. Right? Which verse are we in? Just keep it going.
Saying thus, verse 6, the Most High looketh upon us, and in truth have comfort in us, as Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declared, saying, and he shall be comforted in his servants.
Okay, you know what they're doing? See, when in the time of struggle, what are they doing? They're remembering their identity. They're remembering who they are, where they come from. They remember what they were taught. They remember. See, if you were following the heathens, you're not going to remember who you are. And you will show signs of cowardice because you want to be like the heathens. That means you're compromised. Okay, these brothers did. All right, let's go to verse 7.
Verse 7. So when the first was dead, after this number, they bought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his head...
Now, so they scalped him. The second brother gets scalped. You see how evil? Do you see how evil and inhumane the white man is? Scalped him over pork. Over pork. Let's keep it going.
And when they had pulled the skin of his head with the hair, they asked him, wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? 8. But he answered in his own language and said, La'ah.
Okay? He said, La'ah. He said, La'ah. So he answered in his own native tongue, La'ah. Not going to do it. Let's keep it going.
Wherefore, he also received the next torment in order, as the former did. Verse 9.
Okay, let's stop right there. What does this show you? This shows you that the white man is really not as powerful as he thinks. See, a lot of times we in the Black, Hispanic, and Native community, since we've grown up in this hell, since we've been in this hell, we just think, man, the white man is just super powerful. These brothers and sisters show that he was not that powerful. When we compromise, it's not that the white man is powerful, it's that we're being weak. That's really what it is. It's not that the white man is being so powerful, it's that we're being weak. And these brothers and sisters just showed him. Your first brother was just cut up. The second brother could have compromised. See, when you compromise with the white man, you're being weak. It's not that he's powerful. It's not at all. He's not powerful. And we know why we're in this condition. Okay? Alright? Let's keep it going.
Verse 9. And when he was at the last gasp, he said, Thou like a fury talkest us out of this present life. But the King of the world shall raise us up, who have died for his laws unto everlasting life.
Okay, so what did they say? Why? What's one of the reasons why they were so courageous? Because they believed in what? How was that? They knew they were coming back here. They knew that. They knew they were coming back here. They said, hey, take me. Got plenty more to go. Got plenty more to go. Okay? Take me. Alright? And that's why they had no fear. It is what it is. Go ahead, sir. Select, sir. Come on. And that's something, this is going to actually even talk about how courageous that mother was. And that shows that even the women in the truth can be courageous. It's not just the men, the women can. Because the mother had to sit there and see her boys all tortured, all murdered. And, as a mother, even though it was painful, she had to be proud that her sons didn't count. The strength. She saw her sons as warriors. They were warriors for the truth. They didn't give in. Alright, where we at, Baba Shah?
Verse 10, sir.
Let's keep it going.
Verse 10. After him was the third, made a mocking stock, and when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon.
So, you see how the third one to me went hard. You see what the third said? The third said, hey, let's get it over. Okay, the third just already knew what was going on, so the third said, hey, I'm ready to go. Let's rock it out. I mean, he saw the other two, so hey, let's rock it out. Let's keep it going about the shot.
Holding forth his hands manfully. Verse 11. And said courageously, These I had from heaven, and for this, and for his laws I despise them. And from him I hope to receive them again.
Take my hand, take my tongue, I'm going to get some new ones. I'm coming back. You see the attitude that they have? You see the spirit behind? Because this is the spirit that contributes to Chaanakah. No compromise. No compromise. No cowardice. This is the spirit behind it. This is the spirit behind this feast day. Alright, let's keep it going.
Verse 12. Insomuch that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage.
They marveled. They're like, what is going on here? What is going on here? What were they used to seeing? They were used to seeing our people fold. They were used to our leaders, our Dr. Kings and Jamal Bryant's folded. They're used to the tap dancing Negroes. They're used to that. The entertainment, whatever you say, boss. They didn't see this before. Even they marveled. Like, man, chopping off feet and hands, and they still like, let's get it on. Okay? And see, this is the attitude that we have in the UPK. Okay? Alright? Why do you think we never heard this story in the Christian church? Because the Christian church allows you to be weak. You can be homosexual in the Christian church. You can be a child molester in the Christian church. That's what I'm saying. Why are we not remembering these people? Because the Christian church compromises. The Christian church all is about compromise. The Christian church has the way of the heathen. Okay? But we in the UPK must remember this family. Okay? Alright? Alright, let's go down to let's keep it going. Let's go down to okay, so we know the fourth died. Let's go down to verse 12. Let's look at verse 12. We're on 12? Okay, let's read 12.
Finish it.
Yeah, let's finish this. Slack.
For that he nothing regarded the pains. 13. Verse 13. Now when this man was dead also, they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner.
Okay, so the fourth is going through it. Let's keep it going.
14. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, it is good, being put to death by men, to look for hope from the Most High, to be raised up again by him. And for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life.
You see how it went hard before he died? Listen, I'm coming back. You ain't. You're not coming back, buddy. I will rise again. You see how bold these brothers are? You see how bold these sons are? I'm coming back. You're not. And this is all before. You would think before you get thrown in a pan, you'd be like, these brothers like, take my hands, take my feet. You ain't coming back here. This guy, hey, I got plenty more. That was what they would say. You would think somebody, all right. Nah, none of these brothers said that. Okay? They knew they were coming back. They knew that. All right? Let's keep it going.
Verse 15. Afterward, they bought the fifth also and mangled him.
Okay? They mangled him. All right?
Verse 16. Then looked he unto the king and said, thou hast power over men. Thou art corruptible. Thou doest what thou wilt. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of the Most High.
Don't get it twisted. That's what he's pretty much saying. It's our language. Don't get it twisted. All right? That the Most High has forgotten us. Don't think that. Don't let that go across your mind. Okay? Don't think because of our present condition that the Most High has forgotten who we are. Okay? Just wait a while. Okay? Let's see what he said. I think he said that in verse 17. Let's go to verse 17.
Verse 17. But abide a while, and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed.
This is the beauty of knowing our heritage. Because we know, just wait a while, white man, you're going to get yours. You and your descendants. You and your descendants. See, that's the same answer. Just wait. Don't think. Don't get it twisted, white man. Don't get it twisted that you just in this powerful position just because. Don't get it twisted. Just wait a while. Okay? And you and your children is going to get. Somebody made a good point too, because when you're talking to Christians hate that the white man has to suffer. They hate that. Especially when you're talking to black Christians. Because they always have that white friend. There's always a white friend they bring up. But what about Billy? Billy's a good white. Billy's always in the race. When you tell that white people must suffer, it's not. You get in more arguments with black people because they really defend white people. But what about Emily? Chaanakah made a great point that I was like, man, that's a good point. People forget that there was good black people, but guess what? They suffered too. Big Mama suffered. Okay? Those righteous brothers and sisters suffered. And people don't consider that. But it's like, what are we talking about when the white man suffers? But what about John? John's a good white man. So were these 6 and 7 brothers. So was these 7 brothers and that one mother. They were righteous. They suffered. So yes, you, Emily, Billy, and John are going to suffer. You're going to suffer. And your children. You're going to suffer. You're going to suffer. But it's like I said. All right, let's keep it going.
Verse 18. After him also, they bought the 6.
Okay, now we're on to the 6. I mean, we're pretty much going through the family. Keep it going.
Who being ready to die said, Be not deceived without cause, for we suffer these things for ourselves, having sinned against our God.
There is the heart of the matter. The 6th brother said, by the time we get to the 6th brother, here's the heart of the matter. Why are we in this condition? It's because of our sin. That's what he was pretty much saying. Don't get it twisted. We're in this condition because we have sinned. Okay? We have sinned. Keep it going.
Therefore, marvelous things are done unto us. Verse 19. But think not thou that takest in hand to strive against the Most High.
Okay? Don't think this. Because you got to understand. See, people don't understand. People that have children understand this even more. Okay? When you are bothering somebody's children, we are the children of God. We are the children. You're fighting against, you're going against the Most High. See, some people don't remember that. Don't get it twisted. He's going to remember the evil that you did to his children. He's not going to forget. Okay? Don't think that you're not going to pay. Because fighting against his children is like fighting against the Most High. You're going to pay. Okay? Alright? So, we're going pretty much through the family. Okay? Alright? Let's jump down to... Let's jump down to... What is where we get to the 7? Alright, let me see. Let's go to verse... Okay, let's go to verse 24. Okay, so all 6 brothers, and now we down to the... Okay, now we down to the last brother. Let's find out what happened. Let's go to verse 24. Antiochus.
Verse 24. Now Antiochus, thinking himself despised, and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech.
Okay, so now what's Antiochus feeling like? He's seeing that everybody at Saul, that he's just like murdered a pretty much whole family. So what does he try to do? What does the white man do? He tries to revert. Okay, to kind of save face, he's going to try to be nice to this last brother. He's going to speak kindly to him. Okay, so what does he say? What do they say to all of our... when the white man wants you to compromise, what does he do? Let's read it. When he wants you to compromise, he always does this.
Whilst the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assure him with oaths that he would make him both rich, a rich and happy man.
Okay, what does the white man do when he wants you to lower your standards, lower your, what does he do? He always promises you something. I'll be your friend. I'll get you out of the hood. I'll get you this car. I will make sure everything's good for you. He said that to Yahushua. Pretty much. Said, hey, bow down versus me, I'll give you all this. Okay? Said it to the native Indian. He said it to all the black. Every time he's trying to get a black out the hood, what does he say to a black? He promises them 50. I tell people, I cannot, seriously, I cannot talk to a white businessman because the white businessman is so convincing. You never understand what he's saying. He speaks 100 miles per hour, so you won't. But it sounds so convincing. Blah, 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 blah. You'll get this and this and this and this and this. And you're like, what is he talking about? But it sounds cool, good. And you'll get gold at the end. Actually, it's right. They did the days about. contract this, and this is what it really means, and after this you'll get this. And what black people, we're like, okay, I'll sign here. But then when it's time to get paid, what does the white man always do? Well, now he's got paid. Well, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. Okay? And that's why it's like you never know. And that's why you got all these black artists, the white man took, made a fortune off of, and remember they still going back in the hood. But let's screw with New Edition. I couldn't even finish that movie. They're going to perform it all over the world and taking a tour bus right back to the projects. Right back there. And you see all these black groups that have gone broke. In Vogue, TLC. Just gone broke. The white man never got broke off of the black talent. But the point is, he always tries to be your friend. He befriends you. He tries to tell you what he's going to give you. All right, let's continue.
He would make him both a rich and happy man if he would turn from the laws of his fathers.
So turn from a compromise, turn from the laws, and things will be good, okay?
And that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs.
Okay, verse 25.
25. But when the young man would in no case hearken unto him, the king called his mother.
Okay, now he's trying to get mom involved. Okay, they usually do that. They try to get mom involved. Okay, you know, they'll sometimes do things for mama, like, well, listen, we need you to do this, we need him to play for us on this team. We need this. Okay, all right, what does he say to mama?
And exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life.
Talk to your son. Talk to him. Okay, you know how the white man comes with that. This is for his own good. Okay, let's find out. What verse we in?
26.
Okay.
And when he had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son.
Okay, I'm gonna talk to my baby. This is our baby boy here. Okay, let's find out.
Verse 27. But she, bowing herself toward him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn, spake in her country language on this manner.
Okay, so she's like, okay. All right, keep it going.
O my son, have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in my womb.
Okay.
And gave thee such 3 years and nourished thee and brought thee up unto this age.
Okay.
And endured the troubles of education.
Okay, you know how it is. So she's talking to her son of all the things that she had to go through to raise her son. Okay, those painless nights you up, those painful nights you up, trying to do the science project, trying to help to make sure the son understands things. What black mothers know about this? Okay, trying to make sure your child is on the right track. Okay, keep it going.
28. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heavens and the earth, and all that is therein, and consider that the Most High made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise.
Okay, keep it going.
29. Fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren.
I'll receive you again. Take this like a man. Be a man. That's what she pretty much said. Let's see how her son responds, okay?
Verse 30. While she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, Whom wait ye for?
What are you waiting for? This is the courage of the youngest. Because he saw the courage of all his brothers. What's the youngest saying? What are you waiting for? Go ahead.
I will not obey the king's commandment, but I will obey the commandment of the laws that was given unto our fathers by Moses.
Okay, he didn't compromise either. Okay, he didn't compromise at all. Okay, he went the same way his brothers went. Okay, all right. So, I mean, pretty much the story is the brother and the mother even eventually died. And the mother showed more, it says the mother showed just as much courage. Okay? So all 7 brothers died, and the mother died too. And it says the mother showed even more courage. Okay? Because she told her sons to go to not compromise. So what's the first point that we need to learn about Chaanakah? This day teaches us to remember those who were courageous. Remember those who were not cowards in the time the heathen was trying to force us to do something unlawful. That's point number one. This day teaches us to remember that family. That family who did not compromise. Alright? So that is the stuff. So what did this family? This family put the spirit and the vibe out there of Chaanakah. They put that spirit. And that spirit was no compromise. Be creative, courageous. Alright, now we're going to go into when the stage started to get hot. Okay? So we went through, I broke this up into sections. Section number one was how we lost our identity. We told the Greeks we want to be like you. The Greeks came down, destroyed our place, our home. Section number two is we had people that wouldn't compromise. We had people that was like, I ain't doing that. I'm going to obey the commandments, the law, statutes, commandments. And they had to die for it. So they put that revolution type spirit in the atmosphere. Okay? It gets contagious. You start to see other brothers and sisters, you're like, oh. Okay? And over time, people going to start looking at us. Like, this group doesn't compromise. Who is this group? And people already start to see that. People already start to see that ISUPK, we don't compromise. Alright, so now it's in the atmosphere. Let's go back to 1 Maccabees 2. Now we're going to go to 1 Maccabees 2 and see how this revolt started. Well, there was a revolt, okay? So the Greeks took over their ruling, but now we're going to start to see our brothers and sisters, what's the word, like strike back, clap back, whatever word you want. Okay, clap back, all right? I don't know if that's the right word. Okay, going back out. All right, so now we're going to see that, and we're going to see what happened. All right? So let's go to, let's go to 1 Maccabees 2, verse 1. We're going to read through that.
1 Maccabees.
What did I say? I said 1 Maccabees 2. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
1 Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
In those days arose Mattathias.
Okay, so now we got a brother named Mattathias. This is another brother you need to remember. Now they didn't get really now we know that we got 7 brothers and a mother to death. Now we got a man named Mattathias. You need to remember him. Okay? Alright, go ahead.
The son of John.
Alright.
The son of Simeon. A priest of the sons of Joarib.
Okay, so this wasn't just Joe Schmo. This is a priest of the Lord. This is a priest of the Lord right here. Okay? Who knew the law, statutes, and commandments. Mattathias. Alright, let's keep going.
From Jerusalem and dwelt in Modin.
Okay?
Verse 2. And he had 5 sons.
Okay, so Mattathias has sons. He got 5 sons that he's trained up in the way. Alright, we're going to go a little faster because I know time is running out. Let's go to verse 5.
Verse 5. Eleazar, called Aravan, and Jonathan, whose surname was Appius.
Okay.
6. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, verse 7.
Stop right there.
Come on.
Now, stop right there. Okay. What was Mattathias' attitude? Okay, because this is going to go to point number 2 of why we are celebrating this feast. Okay, actually read verse 6 again. I want everybody to really listen to Mattathias' attitude. Let's read verse 6 again.
Verse 6. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem,
okay, he saw the blasphemy of what was going on in Jerusalem and against Judah. He saw it. And when he saw it, he's really observing. He's taken back, like, what is going on here? Okay, let's look at verse 7.
Verse 7, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers.
Okay, what is Mattathias' attitude? What's his attitude right now? Anybody see it? What's his attitude? He's going out, he's seeing the deplorable things that are happening to his people and his country. What's his attitude about it? Maya? Yes, he's moved. You know why he's angry? Because he really loves his brothers. Chaanakah is about brotherhood. When you see one of you see, that's how you can tell some people really love black people. Because they're moved when they see black people suffering. When Biden won, what were some of our black people that we see there? We did it. I mean, like it's just right now. We did we just on top. Those people are moved when they see black people on drugs. Those people are moved when they see our sisters being prostituted. Those people are moved by that. Man, God looked up and was moved by what he saw. He was moved. He didn't like it, and it made him angry. And because it was war, he has a warrior type spirit. Because he saw what was going on with his people. He hated it. Alright? Let's read verse let's keep it going.
Verse 8. Her temple is become as a man without glory.
Okay.
Verse 9. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity.
Okay, so he sees all the things that were taken away, all of our belongings that were stripped, our heritage is gone. But he didn't forget about the law, statutes, and commandments. He's moved, he's angry. He's angry about this. Let's jump down to verse 15. Okay, so Malachi is a priest of the Lord. Okay, he sees the atrocities that's happened to people, and he's angry about it. Okay? But we're going to see it's not only one thing to be angry about something. Malachi will tell us what the spirit we have to have behind it. Now, we're not going to do the exact actions. We're going to talk about that. But the spirit that he had behind it, that is the attitude we have to have. All right, let's look at verse 15.
Verse 15. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city of Modin to make them sacrifice.
Okay. Keep it going.
Verse 16. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together.
Okay.
17. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, Thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city.
Why would they go to Mattathias? Why? Why would they? We're on 1 Maccabees chapter 2, verse 17. Why would they go to Mattathias? Why would these officials come to Mattathias? What type of man was he? Anybody know? He's an influential man. Okay? They knew that the people would listen to him. Okay? He was an influential man. So you see what the white man does, you see what they do. They go to the person that can influence the people. Let's see what they say. They go to him, okay.
And strengthened with sons and brethren.
Okay, verse 18.
Verse 18. Now therefore come thou first, and fulfill the king's commandment.
Come and do some sacrifice pork. Okay, come and do these unlawful things. Come and do it. All right? They're asking them to come do unlawful things. All right? Keep it going.
Like as all the heathen have done.
Okay?
Yeah.
Be like the white man. Okay, and be like everybody else. They've all done this. What's up with you? All right, keep it going.
Yea, and the men of Judea also, and such as remain at Jerusalem.
Okay, you notice how sometimes when people talk, well, other blacks are doing it as well. They try to throw that in there. Black people, I have black friends, and they're happy in the condition. They try to throw stuff in there to convince you that this condition is so great. My black friend Rodney, he's a Republican. He supports it. That's great. They're doing the same thing. Well, the other men of Judea, then won't you come down and do these unlawful things? All right, keep it going.
So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends.
Okay, once again, remember, the white man is not your friend. He just comes to you and is friendly. He's friendly. Okay, that's the subtle. That's how he's subtle. He's friendly. I'm your friend. I want to help you. Okay, and he always comes with that manner. Always acting like he's going to give you a prize at the end. Okay, keep going.
And thou children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
Okay, we're going to reward you, okay? All right? Keep it going. Let's look at verse 19.
Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice.
And Mattathias was what had moved. What did he say? In a loud
all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments. 20. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers.
See the same. Where have we heard this before? Let me get a precept. He said, listen, everybody else can do it like this. But my household, where's a precept? Let me get a precept. Where's that from? Who else said something like that? Anybody know? Anybody know? What about Joshua? Did Joshua say that? For me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Okay, remember he told Israel, you choose this day. But it's for me and my house. Alright? Okay? This is the attitude that he has. Alright, let's keep it going.
21. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances.
Okay? He's going to refuse to forsake the law. And he's going to refuse to forsake the ordinances. Okay? Verse 23. Yeah, you can read 20, just like it.
22. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion either on the right hand or the left.
We're not going to falter. We're not going to compromise. He had the same spirit as the mother and the 7 brothers did. He had that same spirit. Okay? All right. Let's go to 23.
23. Now when he had left speaking these words, there came of one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment.
Okay, so one of the other Jews stood there and was like, well, I'm going to go sacrifice. Okay, now I want you to pay attention because the spirit that Mattathias has is the same spirit that we have to have. Mattathias, when he saw this, let's see what he does. Now, Mattathias already just said, listen, I ain't compromising. He already said that this was up. But Mattathias takes it to a next level. Okay, he takes it to a whole new level. Not only am I not going to do this, let's see how his attitude is. Let's keep reading.
24. Which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal.
He became real zealous about this. Like, what is this man doing? Go ahead.
And his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his... and his reins trembled.
Okay, what does it mean when his reins tremble? What is that talking about? Go ahead. I'm thinking like he's shaking. And when it says the reins, he's like even on a horse. You know, we have the reins on the horse, shaking when he sees this. Like he's trembling. Like, you gotta be kidding me. This man will actually do this and right in front of me? Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment, wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar.
Slew him. Killed the man. Okay? Killed the man right there on the altar. Okay? Now, this attitude that Mattathias said, now we're not supposed to go out and kill somebody. We're not. We're not supposed to kill people. But what was the spirit behind it? Mattathias he knew something. Okay, General Hannah teaches this, that he knew that when you serve the Lord, when you serve the Most High, it's not only good just to serve the Most High, okay? But the people that are not serving the Most High become your enemy. The people that are not serving the Most High become your enemy. Okay? Alright? He was making enemies of the ones around him. Because he had the vibe that I'm going to serve the Lord. Okay? So if you're not rocking with me, then, we're not together. You're not just going to get up here and eat a pig and sacrifice it in front of my face, okay, and insult my nation and insult my hair right on the altar too. You're not going to do that with me. Okay? And this happens. We're not to kill people. We're not to kill people. But when you serve the Lord, okay, you make enemies People, sometimes a lot of people even close to you. What's a precept of that? What did Yahweh said? What's a precept? Anybody know? Why did Yahweh say he came? He came to what? He came to what? He said, I came not to bring peace, but a sword. Okay? And making enemies of one's own household. Okay? Because when you serve the Most High, when you say you're not going to be, eating the pork and the Thanksgiving ham, and you're not going to do the Sunday service or whatever they're doing over there, okay? What do? You're not singing in the tongues, jumping up and down. You make enemies, especially with the Christian church. You know the Christian. I told you I grew up in the Christian church. I know how they act. Okay, I know how they act. They get crazy. They get real crazy. So you make enemies of them. And that is the attitude that we should learn from Mattathias. That when you serve the Lord, okay, you're going to make enemies of those around you. Okay? You're not going to be like, the other fake Israelites sit up there. What do? Okay? They just want to be at peace, be left alone, and chill. Be out of, what do we do every Sabbath? We're going off for war. We go out, that's what camp's all about. We go on to war. And we make people mad. Okay? Because in the ISUPK, what's we're about? We're about warfare. Because we're moved by the deplorable acts that's against our brothers and sisters. We're moved to do something. It's not only good just to serve the Lord and go in your house and chill. Okay? That's not good enough. You're moved because you love your brothers and sisters so much. You're going to war for them. You're going to war for those laws, statutes, and commandments. That's the attitude Mattathias had. Okay? He had that same attitude. Okay? All right? So let's go ahead and do the time's sake. So what happened to Mattathias? He started pretty much the revolution. And what did he do? He went up in the mountains, went up in the woods, and it's pretty much guerrilla warfare happening now. Okay, guerrilla warfare happened because now we got Israelites that are joining him. Okay, got strong men, courageous men, the Lord. They're joining Mattathias. Okay, now he's doing guerrilla warfare. He's fighting back, and he's fighting the Greeks. Okay, he's fighting the Athenians, the Spartans, and all of them. He's fighting the Greeks. Okay, so let's go down and do the time sake. So what's point number 2? Okay, point number 2, Chaanakah is about brotherhood. Because we need to be disgusted about the things that are happening to our people. It should move us to want to do something about it, like Mattathias did. Okay, and it also teaches us not to be compromising. That's point number 2. Point number 1 is for us to be courageous. Just like the 7 brothers and the mother. Point number 2 is to teach us not to be compromised, but to be uncompromised. And to be moved to the point, because we love our brothers and sisters. It's about brotherhood. Alright? So let's go to point number 3. Okay, we're going to go, because we know time is going on. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 3 verse 1. We're going to go to 1 Maccabees 3 verse 1. So, Mattathias started a revolution. We got people there in the mountains, in the woods. They do guerrilla warfare against the Greeks. They fight back. Okay? And we know Maccabees, the Mattathias had sons. So let's find out. We're in 1 Maccabees 3, starting at verse 1.
1 Maccabees chapter 3, verse 1. Then his sons, Judas called Maccabees, rose up in his stead.
Okay, so now his son is taking his father's place. Okay, after a while Mattathias died. Okay, but his son, seeing what his father did, going and keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, has now took over the revolution. He's taken over this revolt against these heathens. Because just like his father was moved, he was moved and wanted to do something about it. So he's making enemies of this heathen nation. All right, let's keep it going.
Verse 2. And all his brethren helped him. And so did all they that held up his father, and they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel.
Okay, it was glorious to them to fight. Okay, it was glorious to them to fight for their heritage, to fight for their identity, to serve the Lord. This was glorious to them. Let's keep it going.
Verse 3. So he gat his people great honor, and put on a breastplate as a giant, and girt his warlike harness about him. And he made battles, protecting the host with his sword.
Okay, he's like Robin Hood. He's like doing like a Robin Hood type thing. Okay, he's fighting for his people, doing what is, he's glorious right now. He's a lion right now. Okay, he's defending and protecting, fighting for his people. Okay, let's go to verse 4.
Verse 4. In his acts, he was like a lion.
Okay, he just said it right there. So it's like, Judas the man, he's like a lion. Okay, he's ferocious. All right, keep it going.
And like a lion's whelp, roaring for his prey.
Okay, he's coming down on these Greeks. He's not playing around with these Greeks. He's not marching. Notice he's not marching. He's not saying we shall overcome. Okay, he's not saying that. He didn't get a group of, our Israelite brothers and say, let's march with the Greeks. The Greeks sitting there marching with them. Okay, he's not doing that. All right, let's keep it going. Verse 6. Oh, verse 5. Salaki.
Verse 5. For he pursued the wicked and sought them out, and burnt up those that vexed his people.
Okay, so he's taking out the people that mess with his people. You see how moved, how much love he has for his people? That's the spirit he's in. Alright? And he learned that from his father. Alright? Keep it going.
Verse 6. Wherefore the wicked shrunk for fear of him.
People started getting scared. Like, this guy's not playing. And that just shows when we follow the law, statutes, commandments, and we are warring for we're warring for our people, people gonna fear us. People already do. I've seen people like, man, I don't listen. They're like, there's something about the ISUPK dudes. Some people think we carrying guns. I mean, I don't want to mess with you carrying guns. They just know. Because they know the fearless men of the Lord in that camp. Ferocious men, lions. Alright, let's go to verse 7.
Verse 7. He grieved also many kings.
Many kings started to shrink. Their confidence is starting to shrink. Because remember I said, it's not that the white man is powerful. Okay? It says, when the white man, it's just that we have to not show weakness. When we show strength, we'll see how weak the white man really is. When we show strength. Okay? Keep it going, Slot, about the shot.
And made Jacob glad with his acts.
Okay? Jacob is happy right now. Okay? They see a righteous man. Okay? When the wicked was, what's the prayer? Was the wicked in charge with the people mourn? I'm going to paraphrase. What's the scripture? The people mourn. Okay? When the righteous, the people rejoice. Okay, I know I'm paraphrasing, but you get the point. Alright? So people rejoice when they see a righteous brother standing up. Okay? Let's keep it going. Verse 7.
And his memorial is blessed forever.
Okay? We need to remember Judas of Maccabees. We need to remember his father, and we need to remember Judas of Maccabees. Because this is a man that fought for his people. This is a man that was uncompromising. Okay? Keep it going.
Verse 8. Moreover, he went through the city of Judea, destroying the ungodly out of them, and turning away wrath from Israel.
Okay? He's turning away wrath from Israel. Okay? And what he's doing, what is he doing? When we turn back to the law, statutes, and commandments as a nation, then what's going to happen? I mean, the Most High said it. Okay? These nations are going to start to fall away. We don't have to get up arms. Actually, now we don't. Because the Most High will fight for us. All we have to do is obey the law, statutes, and commandments as a nation. Because we're in this condition because of our disobedience. So if obedience will get us out of this condition. Simple math. Okay? So, point number 3. Okay? This is the third point. Okay? This day, Chaanakah teaches us to be zealous for the Most High. And to be warriors for the Most High. Alright? Just like Judas of Maccabees was. Zealous for the Most High and for his people. Okay? And being a warrior who's glorious. Alright? Alright, so let's get to almost there. We're going to our last point here. Okay, let's get to the end of the story. Let's go to 1 Maccabees and start in verse 4, chapter 4. Now we're getting to the end of the story. So what happens? Judas of Maccabees coming in, he's kicking tail, left and right. He's knocking down the Greeks. He's doing his thing. He's a warrior, and he's chasing them out of his country. He's getting them out of his neighborhood. He's getting them out of there. They don't have a chance. He's not marching with them. He's not having conferences. He's not begging them for legislation. He's not begging them and saying he's not joining their parties. Okay, he didn't have a black Greek caucus with the Greeks. All right, he didn't do all that. Okay, he's getting them and removing them out of this country. He's moving them out because he knows there'll be a snare. So let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 4. Let's go to verse 41. We're kind of getting to the end of the story. Okay? So, the heathen took over the temple as well. Okay, so let's start at verse 41.
1 Maccabees chapter 4, verse 41. Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress.
Okay, so they're in the fortress, they're in the temple. He's assigning people to fight. Okay, all right, let's keep it going.
Until he had cleansed the sanctuary.
Okay, he's got to get them out of the temple, get them out of here. Okay, because they're defiling it. This is why Christianity is not that is not something that we should do. Christianity says this is for everybody. It's for everybody. Everybody can be in the sanctuary. Anybody. Everybody can be in there. Well, if it's for everybody, nothing's holy. Nothing's holy if everybody's involved. Nothing is. You can't have nothing because everybody can touch the holy thing, so it's just everything's common. Okay? That's why Christianity will kill you. It will really kill you. It will burn you out. When Christianity will think that your house shall cave, it was for everybody, the God of the Bible is for everybody, and we're all holy. Holy don't mean nothing no more. Okay? Let's keep it going. What are we in verse let's go to 42.
Come on. 42. So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law.
Okay, he chose righteous priests, those that were not compromising. Okay, remember the leaders in the beginning, the ones that let's join the white man. Let's join him. Okay, let's do it. Let's join the Democrats. Let's be Republican. Let's join them. Okay, you got now. Judas the Maccabees knows what's up. He knows he joined the righteous people, man. That ain't no compromise. Yeah, let's get this white man out of this temple. Okay, let's keep it going, Bob Shop.
Verse 43. Who cleansed the sanctuary and bear out the defiled stones unto an unclean place.
Okay, they took the stones out. They had these stones for a long period of time. They removed those stones because the heathen had sacrificed on the altars, on the stones, and pig's blood. They had to remove it. They had to get that out of there. Keep it going. What verse are we in?
44.
44?
Come on. 44. And when they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profaned, 45. They thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it.
Okay, so they're like, we got to put it out of here. The heathen has touched it, it's defiled it, let's remove it, okay?
Wherefore they pulled it down.
Tore it down. They didn't leave it up. Okay, remember what the Most High said? We go tear down their altars. Tear it down. Remember, they tore all of our stuff down and built it up. The white man does that. He'll tear burn all your stuff and build his stuff up. They did the exact same thing to us. Now we got to get rid of it, okay? Keep it going.
46. And laid up the stones in the mountain of the temple in a convenient place, until there should come a prophet to show them what to be done with them.
So they said, okay, well, we're going to put these stones, we've had these stones for a long time, but these stones are defiled now because the heathens had pig sacrifice blood and all that. So we're just going to put it in the mountains until a prophet comes to tell us what to do with it. All right?
47. Then they took whole stones according to the law and built a new altar according to the former.
They made something new. They put something new there. Something that wasn't defiled. Something that wasn't touched by the heathen. They made something new. Keep it going.
48. And made up the sanctuary and the things that were within the temple and hollowed the courts.
Okay, so they're making a lot of things new now. They're repairing the temple. Keep it going.
49. They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick and the altar of burnt offerings, of incense, and the table.
Okay, so they brought all these things new. They had brought new utensils. Because remember, the heathen had touched all their old utensils, took it away. So they're bringing new things into the temple. New things. Keep it going.
Verse 50. And upon the altar they burnt incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted, that they might give light in the temple.
Okay, so now they're bringing light. They're rebuilding the temple. Okay, the temple is so important in our heritage. They're bringing back their identity. They're bringing back their identity. Okay, let's keep it going. Got a couple more scriptures.
51. Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table, and spread out the veils, and finished all of the works which they had begun to make. 52. Now on the...
So we can start right there. So, what did they do? They rededicated, they dedicated themselves, they rededicated the temple. Okay? Feast of dedication. Okay? Or Chaanakah, the dedication. Okay? So what's another reason why we recognize this feast? Okay? It teaches us through uncompromise, through zealousness, warfare, and love for our brothers, we took our temple back, and we took our heritage back. We took our temple back, we took our heritage back. It wasn't through loving the heathen. It wasn't through compromising with the heathen. Okay? It was through warfare. It was through being zealous. It was through turning to the Most High. And there's a tradition in the ISUPK, which I just found out. This is why the ISUPK, every year in Chaanakah, brothers put something new in the school to remember what they did. Okay, they put something new. So every year in every school, you should bring something new, whether it's pictures, something, as a memorial to remember the Feast of Dedication. Okay, Chaanakah. Chaanakah means dedication. Means the dedication. Let's go over those points again. So why do we celebrate Chaanakah? Point number one. This day teaches us to remember those who were courageous. They were not cowards. Remember those 7 brothers that gave their lives. Remember that mother who was the most courageous, told her sons, hey, do what you're supposed to do. Be a warrior for the Lord. Remember those. Point number 2. Chaanakah teaches us that we are to be disgusted by the heathen's ways. We are to be disgusted. And we are to be disgusted by the way he treats the condition that we are in. And that being disgusted will move us to love our brothers. Chaanakah is about love towards your own, towards your fellow Israelites. That's point number 2. Point number 3, this day teaches us to be zealous for the Most High, to be warriors for the Most High. Just like Matthias was. Just like Judas of Maccabees was. They were warriors. They were zealous. Last point, this point teaches us that through our uncompromise, through being zealous, through warfare, we can take our heritage back that the heathen stole from us. We can take it back. And that's just like they took that temple back, this is what this day commemorates. And with that, we're the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana, coming out of 1 West Hall, New York, 126th Street. I'm going to turn this over to priest and officer of 1000 Matazabah.
Security announcements. We at ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Times, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi 3, verse 8 through 10. It means 10th in Hebrew, and it's pronounced Mayashra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest Fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations. This is the Feast of Dedications tonight. Our next feast day will be February the 26th, which is Purim. You know, just stay in contact with your captains or the leaders of your city in regards to Passover. Remind Akim and Abwathim to check them on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and material. If a brother wants to become a trooper in the school, he has to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf.